Every time I felt that fire and I trusted it and I leaned into it, big things happened. I'm a publicist at heart, a storyteller by trade. PR isn't a sales strategy. PR is a credibility strategy. The more vulnerable you can be, the more likely you are to show up authentically. The authenticity piece on TikTok, it's real life. Like, the beauty of TikTok is it really took away that shiny element that Instagram had.
She built to 250,000 followers before most people knew what an influencer was. Dropped out of uni, taught herself sales, and launched a PR agency that would go on to put a Bankstown pizza shop on national and international television. In this episode, she breaks down what PR really is in 2026 and why the brands winning right now aren't the loudest ones. They're the most real.
People can see through that shit these days. That feeling that your follower may not know you like on the streets, but they feel like they're your best friend. As long as it left an impact on somebody's life, that's all that matters.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of 0.01 Podcast. Today, we have a good friend of mine, Cassandra Hili, on. She is the founder of Curated Agency. So let's dive into this episode on all things PR. Let's go. All right, Cassandra.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Oh my God.
How exciting. I've known you for a couple of years now. You initially did a lot of our PR campaigns when we first started getting into the world of e-commerce.
Yes.
But for those of people out there who don't know you, who is Cassandra Hili? Give us a bit of an insight.
Oh God, it really depends on the day. And who you ask. Who am I? Okay, good question. Strong question to start with.
Very strong,
Alan. Jesus.
yes.
Okay, so my name is Cassandra. Obviously, you've already mentioned I'm the founder of Curated Agency. I am I'm a publicist at heart, a storyteller by trade, and a young woman who's just trying to figure it all out in between trying to build a business, work in my family business, and plan a wedding and everything in between.
Well, I've heard wedding planning is one of the hardest jobs to do. So,
God, jeez, it's so underrated. I thought it was going to be this. As somebody who plans events for clients, I genuinely thought this was going to be smooth and easy, and it was like that for the first week, and then after that,
first week.
everything like went the other way. But yeah, I'm just a multifaceted young woman who's trying to pave her way through this world by building her own thing and tell amazing stories of people, brands, and places as I'm trying to do it.
I love that. That's a very good definition, I would say. You know, you do quite a lot of things, and you're involved with quite a lot of businesses as well.
Yes.
But tell me, like, when you first started your business, what got you into PR? Was that always something you wanted to do?
No, I didn't even know what PR was, truthfully. What led me to PR was because back in, I'm really now testing like my timeline skills here. Okay, so year 12, it was 2012 when I was in year 12. So it would have been about 2010. I started a blog. Okay. And I was about 16, nearly 17 years old. I had a really big weight loss story.
Yeah.
I was sharing that story all over the internet. Tumblr mostly at the time was the key
good
thing.
old Tumblr.
I know, I miss those days so much.
God.
Oh my God. I'm so glad we're in the resurrection of like nostalgia. And I'm like,
yeah, everyone's in the Y2K era. Bring back the Tumblr blogs.
I'm loving it. Anyway, I was sharing my story online. Just at that point, I'd lost about, when I started it, it would have been in 2011. 2011, I started the blog. I was posting all the time. I had lost about 30 kilos at that point, and my sister's like, you should just try it. Everyone's doing it, get on there. And I was like, okay, let's give it a go. Didn't think twice about it. Most of my great stories started like that. And I uploaded a few photos, went viral a few times, gained like 30,000 followers very quickly, which was a lot at that time.
That is huge back then.
Yeah.
Massive.
And it kept growing, building a community based off my story, being myself. And this was all happening whilst I was in high school.
Yeah.
And it really taught me the importance of community. It was really interesting because like I really thought I was like all that, where I was like, you know, meeting up with followers. It was really interesting. Like it gave me a confidence that I'd never felt in my life prior to that. Like I was
this on Instagram? Or
no, this was Tumblr
Tumblr. So
still.
you had 30,000 followers on Tumblr.
Yeah. So I primarily started there. And then I think it was like end of 2011, early 2012, Instagram really became a thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Just as we finished high school, I think Instagram popped up and then everyone was on it. Yeah.
I think so. And far out you think about that, was already 15, 16 years ago.
I know.
And I transitioned from Tumblr onto Instagram. That blew up as well.
Okay.
So I then had my Tumblr community, my Instagram community, and I also had a YouTube community.
Wow.
So within 3 years, so I think at that point it might have been after I'd finished school, so 2013, I had accumulated about 250,000 followers.
That's insane.
Yeah, and this was across all my platforms.
Wow.
I had a strong global reach. I was collaborating with brands as an influencer, promoting things. I think Model Co was actually my first, that's what it was called back then, one of my first like paid influencer things. It wasn't a lot of money. I think it was like $70.
Yeah, back then influencers got like $50.
Yeah.
Free product.
Yeah, blog writing was a big thing as well. So I was like writing blogs for people. And then fast forward, I started getting like opportunities to be able to tell my story differently. So there was a point where I was unemployed, and the natural, what made sense whilst I was like trying to go from school into figuring out what I was going to do was take that natural path of, we've lost all this weight. It makes sense. Let's study food, nutrition, sports, all of that kind of stuff. I dropped math, science, sports, and everything in year 11 and 12. These were not subjects I was good at. I failed. I got E's and F's and everything in those subjects. So I dropped them when I could. Enrolled into uni for a foods dietetics course or something like that.
Which uni?
No. Sydney Uni, no. What was it? Western
Sydney?
And I was driving out to Richmond 4 days a week for this thing.
We would have been in the same class if that was the case, like if we got down there. Because I was studying as well, same thing, Sydney Uni. I graduated 2012. I think we graduated same year high school.
Yeah.
I went to Sydney Uni, studied a science degree, bachelor's of science. I majored in nutrition metabolism. I became a personal trainer. Same thing, I was a fat kid. And then... I wanted to get into the dietetics degree, but it was a 98.7 ATAR.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get into it. And the master's was a 98.7 ATAR to get into that double degree.
Oh my God.
So I was like, okay, well, then I'll just have to take the slow pathway, go through science first, and then
make your way up into
that master's. And I couldn't be bothered after that. But
I felt that. I got my first uni assignment
I just want to get out of here ASAP. I'm not into this. Hey.
Did you do it as well? I got my first uni assignment, didn't understand it, went to the office.
I failed 7 out of my first 10 units. And then I got a letter from the Sydney Uni Chancellor saying, hey, if you fail one more...
You're out?
You're out.
Yeah, they had so much faith in you.
I
it's
know.
Unbelievable.
And I never told my parents because it's like $2,000 a unit.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I failed 7, so that's 15 grand down the drain almost. So I was like, oh, okay. And I never went to uni as well.
I feel that.
I probably had like a 5% attendance rate.
Yeah, I feel that to the core. Like, I was terrified. Like, when I got that first uni assignment, I think we were 3 weeks in at that point, I didn't understand it at all.
Yeah, they don't even warm you up. They just slam you. Hey, you've been here for 2 weeks. Here's an assignment.
Yeah, and
Best of luck.
it's this weird like formula, and I'm like,
I've never seen that before.
I'm like, who am I kidding? I'm not made for this. So I literally walked down to like the student office, and I was like, I'm dropping out.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I don't understand it. So I was like, I'm not bothering with this assignment. This is not me. Dropped out. Everyone was so worried about what I was going to do. But then the next step made sense to me was let's become a PT. Very similar to you, right?
That's right.
It's the easiest way to get in. Because when I was building my blog, everyone was coming to me for health and fitness questions. Right? How did you lose weight? What did you do? So I was like, I might as well, like, if this is what people want me for.
Monetize it.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll tell you.
Did the course. Did quite well after I finished my course as an online PT. Quickly realised that it wasn't for me.
So you hold a Cert 4, Cert 3?
Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
Did it all.
Which PT institute did you go with? AIPT?
I think it was literally the Institute of Fitness at the
You went with
time.
AIF. That's an expensive course. That was like 15 grand back then.
Yeah, I was
It was
dumb.
even more than that, actually. 15 or 18 grand.
Yeah, for someone who really didn't like the gym, I really had high hopes for myself. That's the truth. Like
That was an expensive course.
it was expensive, and I did this fast-paced one, so I was
Yeah.
like certified within like 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh my God.
So it was full on intense, 4 or 5 days a week, some cases.
Yeah.
Did it all. Look, I used it. And I tried to actually start my own PT business, and it did okay.
Yeah.
But I found online was better because that's where people were coming to me from.
You would have been one of the very early days
I was.
online coaches. Yeah.
I was.
I was doing the same as well.
You too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think we have a very similar story in this
I think
aspect.
so, yeah.
2013, 2014, I was in the gym. I was working in the gym part-time whilst I was at uni. Started an online page called The Healthy Playbook. It's still there now. Obviously, I haven't posted in 10 years. We grew that page. I think at my peak was 15,000 followers, and same thing, writing blogs online.
Yeah.
Selling recipe books.
Yes.
Sold
Oh my
apparel.
It's the same story.
Yeah, same story. I sold recipe books. I sold
Yeah.
apparel. I had online coaching clients, and I was coaching in the gym as well.
Yeah.
That was pretty much my story as well.
Yeah.
2013, 2014.
It was the prime time for Fitspo, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, and I was like one of the only Asian gym guys in Australia at that stage, and it was such an interesting time.
Well, it was such a time. There was so much fun as well. Like, I never forget, everyone was so obsessed with their frozen banana,
Oh yeah. The smoothie bowls.
Yeah.
That's my whole page. If you look at my page, it's all smoothie bowls and protein bowls.
It was such a time. Like,
my gosh.
the jars started coming out where everyone was making their salads and food in the jars.
And the chia bowls and the chia jars. Yeah.
Oh, that was
my
such
God,
a
chia
time.
pudding.
And then everyone used that filter. What was that filter?
It's like the Instagram filter, right?
Valencia or something like that. That was like the key to success. Oh my God, I'm having happy
It's like
moments.
PTSD flashbacks.
Yeah, it was you thought it was so cool as well. But
so many followers.
Yeah.
People come up to you. Are you that guy?
yeah, it was such a time.
Because there were no creators back then.
It
Not
was
many people
starting.
were creating. Yeah, not many people.
I think at that time, Sabo Skirt was really
Yeah.
owning it from a fashion perspective. Because I remember when I was on Tumblr, Sabo Skirt was everywhere and collaborating with creators on
The early days. super
yeah,
early days.
on the Tumblr platform. And
wow.
I do remember there were some really strong creators at that time, like Jade Tunchi and her sister Yasmin. There was another one, I can't remember her name, but there was a few at that time where then they successfully transitioned to Instagram, and now Instagram is their main creator profile that they've now built up over the years. But it's really interesting, how Tumblr was a real core for so many people who are now really, really successful creators.
Tumblr was such an interesting platform.
It really
and you watch, half the people watching this video or listening to us will have no idea what Tumblr is.
I brought it up the other day
The Gen
to my
Zs will have no
office.
clue.
What's that? And then I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, please tell me you know what MySpace and Bebo are.
Bebo.
And then they were like,
Bebo?
are these different languages? I'm like,
they would have no clue.
I know. How old am I?
Yeah, literally. All
Is
the
this
Gen
what
Zs
feels
would have
like?
no idea.
I was dying. I was like, these were prime time, guys. There was nothing more offensive than knowing when you went to your friend's MySpace or Bebo account what rank you were at every day.
And then back on Facebook, you could nudge each other. You had nudge wars. And then MSN.
MSN. Oh,
we're showing our age, guys. Sorry.
guys, the best time. To be fair, though, it's all coming back. Let's be real.
That's true.
We're going
That
back.
was such great times. You get home from school, you jump onto MSN, and you see all your friends. Everyone's got that little parentheses
Literally.
or XX and
Yeah.
this and that.
And when LOL was
yeah,
really
yeah,
fashionable
yeah.
and not offensive now.
Yeah.
But even
Is
just
LOL offensive now? LOL is
apparently.
offensive.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
Not
it
with the
just.
times then.
Yeah, neither am I. I love LOL, but
I
anyway.
use LOL every time.
Same.
Oh my God, that means the Gen Zs must be looking at me like I'm an idiot.
Honestly, same. But even I still stand by PlayStation 2 was the best PlayStation with the best games that they ever
PlayStation
created at
2
that
was
time.
awesome. So cool. Crash
best.
Bandicoot. Oh, Oh,
Sing
so good.
Star, Simpsons Hit and Run.
Oh, Simpsons Hit and Run is such a great game.
Oh, all the times. Oh my God. I feel like we've just
It's
spiraled.
like GTA San Andreas.
Literally. Best. What was that ski game? SSX Tricky.
All the ski games, and then what is it? I was gonna say Tony Hawk, the skateboarding
Yeah.
games, all of that. Everyone loved
Shrek
it.
game. Oh God. Oh, you can't bring those years back. It's just not the same anymore.
It's different, very different. Now kids are on e-bikes out on the street crashing into pedestrians. So
Literally. Yeah, that's a whole
that's
other
the new
problem in
age.
itself.
Yeah, that's the new age.
That's another problem in itself.
Oh
But
my gosh.
like, it was those days where I really like learnt the power of community and the power of like, you know, telling your story and authenticity without realizing, hey, this is actually like a form of PR. It wasn't until a couple of years, or maybe like after I did my PT certs and I really tried to build my blog. And look, I had some fantastic opportunities during that where I did make some money. Like I sold an ebook quite successfully. I did coaching. I then started freelancing for some social media marketing agencies at the time because socials was quite new. Like influencer development was quite new. I was meeting people. And then it wasn't until my dad, bless him, he sat me down one day and he was like, what are you going to do with your life?
Yeah, no uni.
We've given you enough time to figure it out. What are you doing? At this point, I think I was like 19.
Yeah.
So I was still young enough. And I was like, I don't know. Like, this is it for me. This is what it feels like. This is it. My dad's like, okay, but like, it's not enough right now. Like, it's still growing. So you need to figure out what you want to do. And at the time on TV, Roxy Jasenko was on Celebrity Apprentice, or the one where they're like, you're fired. And I was watching, she was doing something with Cranides, and I was watching what she was doing, and I was like, oh, I can do that. I'm sure I can do that. I was like, I'll do what she does. Researched her, looked up her name. I was like, PR, great. That same afternoon, I went and enrolled into an online university course because I was like, I'm not doing that whole seminar bullshit again. I also wanted to work full-time or work at the same time. I'm not made for sitting down for 2 hours straight. And I got accepted into that the next day. A couple of days later, I then got a call from Fitness First because I had applied to work there as not as a PT, but as in sales.
Oh, okay.
They offered me a job. And then before I knew it, on March 9th, 2016, I was starting this new job and starting uni all at the same day. It was almost like alignment. Like everything has happened for a reason to bring you to this day. And it was really great because as I was studying my degree, I was like, I already know all of this. But all of this is like so specific to like corporate PR, or it's very outdated. The only relevant thing in there was you had to write a speech for Justin Bieber, who was doing a press conference. And I was like, I don't even like Justin Bieber, so this isn't useful for me.
Hey, that was his peak time during those
really
days.
was.
It was peaking.
It was. And they had to find a way to engage everyone, I guess. But I just said to myself, like, I'm doing quite a lot of this. Like, why am I studying it? I continued studying it because of I wanted to prove to my family that I could do it.
Yeah.
Did it at my own pace through uni. And it was then about a month into the course where I said to myself, I think I can do this myself. Once I finish my degree and once I do a few internships in the industry, I can do it myself. I always had that self-belief. I always wanted to do business in some way, shape or form. And it kind of happened, manifested. Like September that year, I ended up starting my business.
September 2016,
started. And there was a bit of like a manifestation kind of period with it where that a couple of months after making that decision, I was watching a show on Stan called Younger with Hilary Duff in it. The show she was in had a book publishing company. She was working in there as like the promotional marketing person. And the arm that she was working in the business was called Millennial Imprint or something like that. And I was like, oh,
that's cool.
I like that name.
What a name.
What can I do with that? I was like, Millennium. And then I was like, Millennium Imprint, Millennium Agency, Millennium this. I started playing with plurals and I was like, what about Millennium Communications? Loved it, fell in love, looked to see if it was all free, registered everything.
Yeah.
Because one day I'm going to have this business. And it was then a couple of months after that, I had the opportunity to start my business through a friend and started. And then all at the same time, I was at Fitness First learning sales because I was that annoying person out at the shopping centre asking, would you like a free pass?
Would you like a free trial?
Would you like a free trial?
Free trial.
Getting abused in the midst of it.
Yeah.
Met my best friend, like had all of these great experiences there. And they also gave me a lot of experiences where they also leveraged me as an influencer at the time, where they gave me speaking opportunities. They
that's cool.
used me as their kind of like guinea pig because they really knew how they had to jump on that personal brand, that influencer component. And I said yes for the experience, and they gave me opportunities to speak at like Mind, Body, Spirit, like a couple of times there. There was a lot going on. Yeah. So it all kind of taught me how it was that whole entire journey taught me the importance of, one, community, two, storytelling, because when I did have my blog, I was even messaging journalists myself. I got myself into like Daily Telegraph, Women's Health magazine.
Wow. How did you find these contacts?
I was young and just like, let's just give it a go. Screw it.
Out.
Called people, emailed randomly my story. I had a double page spread in Women's Weekly. It was wild. So like I was doing it without realizing what I was doing. Yeah. And it all gave me credibility. It gave me more followers. It gave me opportunities that I wouldn't have had before. The follower count helped because I had multi platforms of being able to tell my story in different ways at that time. And then the sales component, working at Fitness First, it really taught me the importance of how you present yourself and which does play a part of all of this. It's also how you sell yourself, which it comes into how, like your elevator pitch. How can you relate to somebody? All of those kinds of things, which they all kind of, in a way, set me up.
That's so
for
cool.
Where I am right now. And the overall kind of theme of it was it's who you are, how you present yourself, how you talk about yourself, and that's going to give you the credibility and the trust to be able to open up doors and opportunities for yourself.
That's very powerful. That actually leads me to this question.
Ask away.
Very, very interesting way that you've just presented that, actually.
Ooh.
The way I kind of see it is, so it all comes down to a matter of perception. How do you present yourself to the public eye? Let's give the audience something that would potentially help them, right?
Okay.
We can use me as an example. So if you were to present, me from a PR perspective to media, how would you help someone like myself kind of structure that perception? Right? That would be a very interesting one. I think that'll be very helpful for all the business owners or hustlers out there that are trying to listen. Like, how do you actually present yourself to media that's of interest? Because you can just be like, oh, cool, I'm this e-commerce guy, but like, there's 1,000,001 e-commerce guys. Or I'm this crypto bro.
Yeah.
Like, there's 1,000,001 crypto bros. So how do you actually sculpt that public image? How would you do it?
It's really individually tailored for everybody because it's not some may agree, some may not. I don't believe that building a personal brand is one fixed approach. You really have to look at the person. You have to look at how are they currently known to people in their lives. I think we actually spoke about this once when we were working together in this sense.
That was a very long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, where it was like, how do people in your life perceive you right now? Or even people who follow you, how do they perceive you? Because, when you're presenting yourself already to the public in a certain way, whether it's family and friends or strangers, you're going to have two very different masks.
That's right.
You're wearing two very different hats, right? Your family and friends get one element of you and everybody else gets another element of you, right? So for me, it's very much a case of, well, who are you right now in this moment? And how do you tell people about yourself right now?
Interesting.
And how are you doing that? So, if you want to say to me, I'm a multi-million-dollar company owner in the beauty industry, and I also have a coaching business where I teach people the importance of money, right? Something. But if you don't come across to me as you're telling me that clear, concise, but also like you don't believe it, you're going to have a problem. Does that make sense?
So it's as much perception as it is presentation.
Yeah.
Right? So
like you need to know your shit because you have to have like confidence doesn't also just come up in the way that how you look. It comes up with how you speak. It comes up in the way that you make people feel as they're listening to you. There's so many different elements of it, and people need to know that you're confident when you're saying it. So, and you need to also then get really clear in terms of as well, like, well, what do you want to tell people? Because I personally believe that personal branding isn't just you tell this one same story over and over again. You need to have themes, links, and points that you want to make with them. And the story and the narrative within that theme is so important because that's how you create that rapport with people. It's how they trust you. And as long as you're always making sure that there's a point on the other side, they're going to connect with you. And that's super important. And connection is really important when you're building your perception. I think it also comes back down to, what's the word that I'm trying to say right now?
Intention?
Yeah, I would say intention. You need to know what you want to do and who you want to be, because like, do you want to do this for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? What are you doing it for? Why are you building your brand? Why are you doing this? You need to get really clear on that, and you need to know the intention behind it, because you want other people to come on the journey with you whilst you're doing that as well, because that's how you build a strong, lasting brand. It's when you can take people on the journey with you no matter what you're doing. And I can say that as an example of myself. I still have people who follow me from back when I had my blog, and I don't have my blog anymore.
Yeah.
But I've still got a couple of hundred people who have stuck around on this wild journey on my Instagram because they just want to know where it takes me. And when I got engaged last year, I literally had one of my followers reach out to me and say, I'm so happy for you. I've been following you since you started.
That's so crazy.
And I've seen you go through all the waves, the highs and lows in your life.
Yeah.
And this feels so exciting because it feels personal for them too.
Yeah.
So that authenticity, that connection, that intention all helps in terms of the perception, because if you can be real and you can not always paint the picture that everything is perfect in your life and show different elements of your life as you're on this journey, people are going to want to stick around with you. But as long as the perception is positive and it makes sense to the people that are following you as well, you'll have no problems.
That's very cool. I think the social media world has gotten to a point where everyone's chasing perfection, especially girls, right? Unfortunately, it's their value is tied to what their profile looks like, and their value is tied to, potentially the likes, the shares, the followers that they have. And I think it's in a greater sense from a business perspective, it's very, very dangerous to always present as something that's so perfect. From a branding perspective, there's no problems with that. But from a founder perspective, and like you said, personal branding perspective, and even going out to media, I think media is shying away from that picture perfect story. And I could be wrong, but that's what I'm noticing.
Yeah, they are.
You and someone in PR every day would just look at it and go, yep, they want the raw story. They want how you failed. They want to see how you turned the failures into success. And, that's the sort of cool stuff. So off the back of that, how has kind of media changed? What exactly is PR nowadays? Because there's so many new platforms. Digital's this, that's that. Like a big social media channel would also essentially be PR as well. A podcast like this is also technically PR nowadays too. So what exactly is PR in this day and age?
Yeah, I simply put it as like, and everyone might have different definitions, but the simple way that I say it is that PR is basically how you build relationships, maintain relationships with your customers to stay credible, trustworthy, and relevant in their lives. And it can come through multiple different touch points through media. And I think this is where there's a big misconception. I think a lot of people think that PR is just media, but it's not. Like there are some PR activities that can land you media, that's great. But it can also be an ambassador endorsement. It can be like an endorsement deal. It can be activations like guerrilla marketing. media press kits. There are so many events. There's so many different touch points of what PR looks like these days. And yes, the media has changed a lot. So like if we reflect back on, say, when we worked on Cheeky Glow together during the COVID time, so what, 2021-ish?
Yeah, 2021-ish.
Yeah. At that time, it was all about the headlines were like, young 21-year-old makes $1 million in
That was all the headlines.
6 months.
That literally was all the
headlines.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's completely flipped now, where it's very rare that we see headlines like that.
No more money talk.
It's because a consumer became very used to seeing it, that it no longer mattered, but consumers also got very smart where they also knew, hey, just because you're making that doesn't mean that's in your pocket.
Yes, correct.
Journalists catch on because it all comes back from the data, right?
Yeah.
So it has flicked a little bit, or a lot, I should say, and it has become more about the real life stories. It's become about the journey. And I feel like TikTok is credit for that, because the vlogging element on TikTok and the journey that we see now of how people talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between, the authenticity piece on TikTok, it's real life. Like the beauty of TikTok is it really took away that shiny element that Instagram had on and showed everyone through their lives, right? Like we saw that good side, the perfect side. It was shiny and bright, successful, But then you got TikTok where everyone's so real. Like they're on Instagram crying over, you know.
That's crazy.
Like, you know, they're taking you behind the scenes. Like I remember seeing something with you where it was like when you were building out this warehouse, you know, the journey of how you took people from, you know, the warehouse that you used to have, or the office apartment place that you guys had in Bexley to here, like that journey. Cece does it really well as well, you know, and it changed the narrative. People now connect with real life people, humans, and then the brand's responsibility is to then kind of go, well, how do we then keep this authenticity and this connection? How do we keep showcasing it? So it comes back down to, say, the kind of influencers and brand ambassadors or celebrities that they bring on to endorse their brand. There needs to be a like for like, right? And journalists these days want real hard-hitting stuff.
Yeah.
The headlines of the $1 million these days are not it. They want to know, how did you make it? What were the failures behind it?
Yeah.
How much money did you lose? Do you actually have $1 million? What were some of the hard-hitting lessons? They want stuff that people can read and take something away from it.
Yeah, it's really good to see that, actually, because I remember I was watching a piece of content. I can't remember who she is. I think she has an apparel brand or something, and she was like, this Black Friday, you know, we made $1 million in a week, but I actually lost money. And I was seeing her, and she was just in her warehouse just packing. I can't remember who it is. So if she ever sees this video, reach out. But yeah, it was really good to see that, because to a lot of people, and I think during the Black Friday period especially, being in the e-commerce space, everyone's like, yeah, first $1 million month, or first $1 million week, which is to most average Aussies, that would be like, holy fuck, they're rich.
Yeah.
Like they are making $1 million a week, rich.
Yep.
But people don't understand that in a business perspective, to make that $1 million, they might have spent $700,000 in marketing. They might have spent $500,000 in marketing, or whatever it was, and then inventory costs. And then during that period, to pack the 10,000 orders that you've just received, you need to increase your staff by maybe 10x. They need to be working overtime, or your packaging goes out, or your cost of goods, or the shipping fees. Australia Post raises their prices four times a year.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then you got tariffs in the US, and then this and that. And then a business owner will sit there and go, I'm a little embarrassed to say, but it's like, I made $1 million this week, but in that process, I'm actually down $100,000.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's unbelievable that business owners are willing to share that, because 5 years ago, they would never, ever have touched on that.
100%. Vulnerability, the power of vulnerability right now is at a crucial point. Like, I think the more, as scary as vulnerability can be, the more vulnerable you can be, the more likely you are to show up authentically, and you're going to build real life connections with people. Like, at the end of the day, that's what humans are all about. Life, like,
It's true.
connection. Like, no AI tool is going to ever get rid of that.
Oh my God,
right?
the AI videos now, it's just every second video is an AI video.
Literally.
Kills me.
So, like, it's never going to take that away. And I think it's a beautiful chapter of life that we're in, where we're able to actually now show up and not worry about the beautiful side of every moment. You can take and post on Instagram that, that moment where you're crying or breaking down, because it's a part of your story that people want to know about. It's that feeling that your follower may not know you like on the streets, but they feel like they're your best friend online.
That parasocial connection.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they're going to be more willing to buy from you, support you, pivot with you when you pivot, as long as you communicate to them and you take them through that journey. It's fun. It's great. And I have such mad respect for the influencers or the business owners out there doing that, because it's not easy to do it.
It's scary a lot of the times.
It's scary. You never know. I have this biggest fear that if I ever do it and I have a mentee be on Instagram or TikTok or something like that, I'm going to be the next Kim K with the bad cry, the bad face, because it takes a lot of courage to do it.
It does.
And I think that's why those brands are very successful. Those people are very successful. Look at Indy Clinton.
Yeah.
There's a reason why she is where she is, because she's leaned into the power of authenticity and vulnerability, and she doesn't sugarcoat any part of her life. When she's having a great day, a bad day, when her husband, her kids are and I think that's why we all love her so much. Same with Jade, she started that Instagram account before TikTok was a thing, where it was the real Jade Tunchi, and it showed the not so highlight parts of her life. And that's why people loved her more, because she got real. She connected and took away that shiny syndrome. So it's important, I think, in this day and age, that people kind of know and go, hey, you are real.
Do you think it ever gets too much? Because, you start to see the videos where the girls are crying, and it's almost like, oh, I'm so emotional. Hold on 1 second. Let me just put my tripod down. Oh, my God. I'm so sad.
I think that's where the power of authenticity is important. Look, it's really hard to say what's too much and not too much, because I'm the person that my feed is kind of filled with the people who you can genuinely tell.
Yeah.
I think you obviously don't want to be crying all the time.
For the sake of crying.
You want to, but this is where it leans into you want the happy moments, the sad moments, the roller coasters, the pivotal moments, the losses, the storytelling moments. All of those kinds of things play such an important part to keep things quite genuine.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think, sometimes remembering that it's not always for the followers or the likes or the comments. It's sometimes just about the other person on the other side of the screen that's watching you and kind of going, how can I connect with them today?
Yeah.
And I think that's when you lead with that purpose or that intention, I think you'll always show up genuinely.
I like that, because I've always been a big fan of that. For the last, 15 years I've been creating content, it's always been not about the likes, it's not about the followers, it's not about going viral, it's about that one person behind the screen who will see my video and feel a connection to it.
Yeah.
And so whether or not I make a video, half the time it's not even for the person that's trolling me or leaving a negative comment or whatever. Majority of the time is creating that content for that one person. It could just be the mirror of myself out there that this might impact.
Yeah.
And the views don't matter to me. It's not even about getting 100 views or 100 million views. It's about that one person who will actually have an impact and benefit from it.
100%. And I think that's why it's really great that we live in the generation now or the era now, I should say, where it's not about how many followers you have. It's about how many of them engage with you and comment and participate with you. It takes away that pressure of you have to have 100,000 followers or 1 million followers to feel relevant. It's no, you can have 7,000, as long as you've got people commenting great things. You can be just as impactful or powerful as someone with 1 million followers who only has 5 comments and likes. These days, the follower count, I think, doesn't necessarily matter as much as what the engagement element is because people you'll know if someone's genuine and somebody is great by seeing how people are commenting, how people are engaging with them.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's the interest-based algorithm has now kind of made not followers irrelevant, but if you think about it, TikTok doesn't even show your content out to all your followers, neither does Instagram. So it's what's the even point of having those followers? It's your YouTube subscribers not even being able to see your videos. So I think at the end of the day, it's if you can just create content authentically and it hits the right audience, even if it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 validated people is still going to be worth more than,
100%.
10 that are barely interested.
Exactly. And look, it's the same kind of thing with like the media as well. Like I have done a few vulnerable interviews myself, and like my most vulnerable one was one that got me a Forbes article, and it was like the 5 lessons I learned being bullied being bullied as a child and adolescent that helped me in business. The reason why that landed into Forbes was because it was something that no one would ever expect, right? To read in Forbes. But the reason why it worked was because it was admitting to a level of vulnerability that most people could connect with.
Yeah.
Right? Most people, if you haven't been bullied in your life, you are so lucky. But these days, most people
Have been some sort
in
of
some
bullying.
way. Yeah.
Especially cyberbullying nowadays. I mean, that's
Huge,
massive.
Huge. And I will never forget that when that went live, I had parents messaging me. I had teachers messaging me. I had students messaging me saying, like, this really taught me something, or I really loved this. Or I never forget, I had one 15-year-old girl message me and she was like, I needed to read this because I needed to know that there was something better on the other side.
Wow.
And I was just like, out of all of the millions of readerships that Forbes had gotten at this point, none of that mattered. It mattered about that one girl, that one parent, that teacher, that business owner, whoever it was, who had messaged me because they connected with it.
Yeah.
And like that was it for me. Like I was like, that if this doesn't open up any other doors, that's fine. But as long as it left an impact on somebody's life, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think that's very, very powerful. I've had many cases like that as well. A lot of people go, oh yeah, but you don't have that many followers or you don't get that many views. But it's like, if you don't see my inbox though. Sometimes in my inbox you get the message which is like, I've been following you for a couple months, I've walked myself away from the edge just because of it, like I've been able to change my life, or I started this business because of the content that you make. And, that's the beautiful part about content creation. That's the beautiful part about showing up online as your authentic self, is that it's not just about the likes or the views.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But there is going to be that one person out there who connects with you, who you can literally change their entire life because they were inspired by one thing.
Yeah,
you don't need to physically drag them anywhere, but because they saw one thing from you that inspired them, that's completely enough.
Exactly. And like, I think this goes back to your question before about like perception, right? Like, you have a really great perception when you've got people coming to you with feedback like that, or coming into your inbox asking you questions, or telling you they relate with you, whatever the case might be. It's not just about what you see on the profile or, on your bank account, whatever the case might be for you, and how you validate your perception. It really also comes back down to, why are people connecting with you? What conversations are they coming to you for? And making sure that they're also relating to how you want to present yourself to the public. And in some cases you might audit yourself and go, well, why are they asking me this? Like, there's nothing about my feed or my media or my web, whatever, that alludes to this, but it's how they read between the lines of your content.
Yeah.
And you get a choice in that moment to decide, do I want to lead with this next, or do I want to do something with it, or do I just leave it at this person's inbox, their DMs, and let it be?
Yeah.
And bring them back to how I really want to be presented as, or perceived as.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. People tend to overthink it, and I see it more in girls than guys nowadays. Obviously,
I think it's
scary for them.
It's definitely across the board. Sorry, like working with females and males, I see it across both. Like, I constantly am having conversations when opportunities might come up where it's like, we've got this media opportunity and it might require a level of vulnerability from the client to have the conversation or participate in the interview.
Yeah.
And they're like, I just don't feel comfortable with it. And we have to ask the question, is it because you don't want to talk on the topic? Is it because it doesn't make sense for your brand? Which 99% of the time when we're presenting opportunities, it makes sense for their brand.
Otherwise you wouldn't present it.
Yeah. Or does it feel a little bit scary?
Yeah.
And I think in this journey, I've had to learn how to coach people through that as well, so that they can also be okay with sharing that little bit of vulnerability and holding their hands through it, so that they feel confident in it. Because in those times where they have done those media opportunities where they felt a little bit scared, it's opened up doors for them.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that level of vulnerability really helps. I've literally seen people build their brands on social media. They're crying, they're upset, they're struggling, they can't figure things out. And off the back of that video is someone here to present you with a solution or someone here to open a door
Correct.
to help you out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the power of being vulnerable, because too many people nowadays, well, from my perspective anyway, do not like the fake internet persona. If they can tell you're authentic, people genuinely want to reach out, help out, create a community around it. And I think that's the powerful thing about socials. And socials is essentially controlling your own PR in some aspect.
100%.
Right? And then how you show up on social media is very important. So, you could have the most amazing business, but if your personal social media is you on the piss every weekend and, you're doing cocaine off a stripper's ass or something, that's probably
Look, there's
not
nothing wrong
the
with
best
having
presentation.
fun.
Yeah.
Like if that's the kind of vibe you want to give out, that you are the
Or
party
if it makes
person.
sense for your business, sure.
If it makes sense, sure, but you have to control and know the narrative, knowing when to start and knowing when to stop. Because, if you probably put anything up about cocaine or doing drugs online, it's not going to probably go down well.
Yeah,
Not
correct.
just within your professional life. Oh, look,
Correct.
unless that's, the realm that you're in, very different. But like in your personal life, if it was me, my mother and my father would be killing me. So,
100%.
like you have to think a bit laterally in the sense where it's like, okay, not everything has to go on social. So where does the line stop?
Yeah, it's like sometimes, that might be a cool and funny moment between you and your mates right then. But should you take that video? I mean, look, how many NRL stars have been in trouble because they're pissing in their own mouths or, something's happening. They thought it was a funny moment in that moment. And then, boom,
Somebody else
see you
was
later.
watching and that
Yep,
was it.
that was it. And then see you later. That was your entire career down the drain. And now you've got 10 media articles on you. Next day you're in court. You've been banned from playing for 6 months. Like,
Yeah,
big fine.
It's crazy, and like unfortunately, we do live in a society where nothing is safe. you go out if someone, or look, you see it all the time, even with like influencer parties and stuff like that. If there's an influencer there that shows up as one thing online, but then a completely different thing, people are going online and literally talking about it.
Literally. I met my hero, and they turn out to be yeah, they turn out
This
to
is
be a
why
dickhead.
they always say, don't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
Like, we all have moments like that, but there are just some things that can stay sacred. Otherwise, you may end up in a defamation.
That's
Then you're
also
causing
true.
more problems for yourself. And I think, like, it's knowing when something knowing when something should go up for clout and knowing where the boundaries are too.
Yeah.
That's, I think, a big thing. And that literally comes down to your values.
Yeah.
You have to know your values. You have to live in line with your values, your audience values as well. Like you need to know your audience, like they're your best friend, right?
Yeah.
You need to understand, what do they want to see? What don't they want to see? What do they want to hear from you? You test the waters, obviously. Because that's how you grow and how you learn more about them and yourselves. But you need to know what the values are, where they start, where they stop. Otherwise, that's how you can lose trust. And disingenuine people, inauthentic people, they don't last.
Yeah.
And because people can see through that shit these days.
Yeah. So we were talking about this a little bit offline before, but how do you think PR has kind of evolved through the years? It's slightly changing and it's still continuously going to change. And I think with AI coming out, it's going to change even more. But yeah, how do you think PR has kind of evolved?
Yeah, it's changing a lot. I think during COVID, obviously, it was very digital first. It was all, because you couldn't really do anything else. So it was all about, the headlines. It was about digital articles. It was all about that. And I think in the last couple of years, it's really, like, whilst that is still important and 100% relevant and has its place, we have also started leaning into the experience PR journey, where what that is it's no longer about what you're doing just online, it's about what you're doing offline, and how are you creating experiences for your actual customer to engage with your brand. So it's not even just about the media or the influencer, it's also customer first and giving them touch points with your brand through experiences. And we spoke about this offline. Meshki is a really great example of how they've done this. So in the PR world, we do events where we typically invite media, socialites, influencers, anyone that's kind of like a thought leader to participate in an exclusive evening, invite only kind of thing. It creates that illusion of exclusivity, which it does, because you need an invitation to get in. Otherwise, you won't be able to get in. And Meshki, flipped the script where it was, hey, one day they sent out an email, and I think it was on socials as well, where it was like, hey, we're doing a community dinner. We want to invite, I think it was like 15 or 20 of our customers come and join us and fill out this form if you want to come.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's going on?
That would have been thousands of applications.
I don't know how they picked it. I don't know whose job that was. And I have so much respect for them for it. Because, oh my gosh. And they did it and it did really well. Like people online noticed it. And it wasn't about for them who jumped on socials to talk about it, like the thousands of followers or the millions of followers, you know, those influencers. It was about how did that moment help them create a deeper connection with their customer? And it worked because these are the people that buy from them. These are the people who will tell their friends about it. They'll be able to share something online on their own socials that make their friends feel like, oh my gosh, like that's amazing. Like there's a level of authenticity within their word of mouth approach because, you know, there's nothing better than having a friend tell you or you see a friend in something to be able to kind of go, I love that. Where can I buy that from? And it started, and look, this could have started before Meshki, but I just love Meshki as a brand. I'm literally wearing them right now. Hey.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored at all. This came out of my own pocket. And it's changed the way things were kind of being done. They also did it at the F1. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, where they created, you know, fashion moments where people were dressed up in their clothes and they took photos. It brought back the fashion to the, like that, kind of like the spring races fashion thing to the F1.
That's cool.
So like it really started showing that offline, direct customer moments offline are really, really important. And we're starting to see that evolution now where it's, you know, brands are hosting community events, pay a ticket, come along, or hey, it's an exclusive evening, enter, come be a part of it. So it becomes a bit like a lead funnel strategy.
Yeah.
It's working with those authentic influencers where, like Indy Clinton, where, yeah, there might be a bit rogue and depending on who you're talking to with how their content might come across online in terms of like showing every single detail of their life, like in super detail, which I love. I love Indy. You know, you typically may have not seen that 10 years ago because it would have been seen as a risk.
Yes.
But no, she's the queen like now. Like people love that side of her, so brands are using her. It's not just leading with media first, it's leading with community experience first. Guerrilla activations are back. They're hot. Like offline marketing has never been more popular than what it has. And we saw this a couple of weeks ago when Hailey Bieber was here. Yeah. And a brand, I can't remember who it was, but a fashion brand literally hired one of those trucks that had the banner on it where, you know, you can put like advertising material on it. And it was something like in the road colors and everything, something, they wrote like a personal message to Hailey and they just drove up and down the city. Like people were on their phones talking about it.
Yeah.
So they're unique touch points that people kind of go, oh shit, like who is this person? Like who is this brand? Like, or it builds more loyalty because
so
they keep coming back in a world where we've now got a gazillion different fashion brands and everyone's overwhelmed and they can't figure out who to buy from anymore because they've got buyer's fatigue.
Buyer's fatigue, correct.
Right? So it's about how do you always stay front of mind? How do you create those experiences so that people talk about you in a positive way? Yeah. And it's about how do you integrate that into your brand to make it make sense. Because not one strategy or one thing that somebody has done means that it's going to work for your brand.
Correct. And that was what I was going to say is a lot of people that would, you know, see these cool strategies, they'll test it themselves and it doesn't work. But that doesn't mean that the strategy itself doesn't work. It just means that potentially for your brand, that's not the best hit.
Exactly. And it goes back to like what I said before about knowing your audience, right? You have to you have to think like them. You have to think about them. You have to know them. Who are they consuming media from? Do they even read the news? Like, that's why these days, like, I always ask clients and I kind of go, okay, based off the person that you've described to me, can you determine to me if they are still reading mainstream media or are they reading something like Substack? Yeah. Which is huge at the moment. Are they consuming their media more from LinkedIn news because they're a business owner than what they are from Daily Mail? So, you know, every media outlet has its place. Every media segmentation has its place. But, you know, we've seen it when we worked together as well, that just because you got into Daily Mail, it doesn't mean that the right people are reading you,
correct.
right? You may not convert into anything, right?
Correct.
It's great. You can use Daily Mail for credibility, and there are so many different avenues that you can use that in, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to convert into anything tangible in other ways. True,
that's
right?
True.
So, you know, but, you know, the differences on news when you got news.com.au and Sunrise, you know, you made money off those articles like that. I remember with Sunrise, you made something like $18,000 when we were having breakfast.
That news segment. It was like 3-minute news segment and we made $18,000.
Yeah, it was crazy, right? But it was great because it was the stay-at-home mum, most likely wanting to buy tools that made them feel good.
Yeah.
It was probably an audience, and I know you never said this to me, where you may have gone like, why are we going on Sunrise? Like, that makes no sense for me. But I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I know, don't worry, I know. I know, I've got people, friends of mine who do watch it, who would buy this tool. So, you know, and then you've got niched media like, oh my gosh, it's like an email specifically for the beauty industry, and it's ran by 2 ex-beauty journos. And I can't remember it off the top of my head at the moment right now, where Cheeky Glow could have done well because, you know, everybody
is a beauty reader.
Exactly. They want to know what they're endorsing. So it's very much comes back down to like, who's your audience? How do they consume you? How are you going to determine what they want from you? And these days it's as simple as asking sometimes.
That's true.
What are they engaging in? Who are the brands? What brand activations have you seen them even engage with? And what can you do to create something unique for your brand to make it connect to them? Because sometimes it can be as simple as just going out on the streets and handing out flowers.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this big, elaborate kind of expensive one.
Jacob from First in Monkey does that really well. Every year during Valentine's, he gives out 1,000 roses. So, you know, it's he does that definitely very well. So props to you, Jacob. But like it's interesting with PR, right? Because I think a lot of brands have reached out to me, smaller brands who have reached out. You know, they might be just doing their first 100K year or 200K year. And the whole concept is PR is very scary to get into because it's expensive or it's very hard. What would be your kind of take on that? Because, you know, hiring a PR agency may not necessarily be, you know, the most financially efficient for a lot of brands. But do you think there is a certain period in your business where you should start to look for a PR agency to support you? Or do you kind of think that, hey, maybe you should try yourself first? Like, what do you think that cycle should look like for a business?
You need to be at a point where you are going to be comfortable with, and you know what, I say this with every form of marketing because marketing in general just takes time.
Correct.
Anything, whether it's ads, emails, whatever.
You have to give us some sort of leeway.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable with investing in your brand, knowing that you may not see the return straight away. And you may also be lucky where you might see it straight away. But PR isn't a sales strategy. I tell this to everybody. It's not advertising. It's not promotional. PR is a credibility strategy where it's about who's speaking about you in those media outlets and how they're endorsing your brand to their audiences. And it may convert into sales. It may not. And to be honest, there is no right or wrong time in a journey. You could do it at the start as long as you're comfortable with knowing that it can take time. It can be costly because it's not just the PR retainers. You know, there's media kits, there can be events, there are activations.
You got to do send outs and stuff like that.
But every agency works within your budgets. You know, some might say, look, the priority might be like assess your brand with where it's at. It might go, look, not right now. Maybe come back to me when you've got a new product launch. Or if you're saying to me the founder story is so important, great. We're missing this component that we need to fulfill. And like I believe agency owners in the PR world are really good at being able to say what like in that moment, is it the right time or not the right time? And
I think that's the scary part for a lot of people, right? I think there's a big trust component. A lot of people get burnt by agencies and, you know, it's like, and I'm sure you've seen it as well. A lot of PR agency owners would just be like, yeah, just sign up with us. And then nothing ever comes out. I remember we tested another PR girl when we launched our second business with Fluid, and you know, I don't even remember her name anymore, so I can't even call her out. But you know, she promised all of this sort of stuff, and she's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and it's like, you know, nothing ever happened. Zero articles, and her invites were like the worst. You know, not the worst, but like it was just very low quality stuff, and we were just like, what the hell? You know, at that stage, and I had that conversation with you as well. I was like, oh, the budget doesn't fit within what you are providing at the moment. So, okay, I'm going to try a cheaper option. And I was like, okay, knowing how PR is supposed to work, working with you, it's like, oh, well, interesting. We tried this girl because it came from, you know, my business partner's connections. And I was like, okay, let's give her a shot. Let's see what happens. And yeah, I was just like, this is crazy. It's like, you know, they sell us on something. They don't even have the skills or the network or the connections to kind of actually execute and pull it off. And I think that's where people get scared when it comes to PR. It's like, well, Cass, how do I know you're not just here to take my money? You know, they're not coming from a consultative point of view, but it's more like the PR agencies coming as a sales point of view.
Yeah, look, I can't...
That's the hard part.
It is. And I can't speak on every agency owner because I think everyone does everything differently. I only know what I do and that's what I can control. But I'm very much an honest, open book. I don't sell... And I know that's really stupid of me, you know, especially learning sales. Like, you need to sell the dream, you know, like who they could be in 3 to 10 years, 6 months from now.
Because you could have an extra retainer under your belt tomorrow.
Good. But I always say to everybody, like, look, I can't guarantee things are going to happen straight away.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, unless you're paying for an advertorial or the advertisement fee or you've got a strong affiliate campaign set up. I can't guarantee it. Like, you know, we also need to look at your business and see what's workable, right? Like if you also don't have anything that's workable to make it media worthy, or we can't create something, or you're not willing to, like I'm very honest in that space, that element where I'm like, well, I can't help you, like, but I try and keep the expectations reasonable with my clients. And I think like even when in times where you've called me or CC's called me asking for help and I've even been like, I'm sorry, I can't help with this one because it's not within this, or I don't think it's newsworthy enough, or whatever the case might be, right? Depending on what the media cycle is. But I think it's a case of if it's PR is something that you're wanting to go down, speak to multiple different agencies, multiple different people, get a gauge from the person. Understand how do they perceive your brand as well. Get them to talk to you about potential opportunities that they can create or moments that they can create for your brand as well. And make sure that there's a strong alignment there where expectations are set. Like if somebody is selling you the dream, bring them back down to earth with you to meet you halfway and kind of be like, great, it's wonderful that you're telling me that in 3 months from now I could be featured in A, B, C, and D. But what if we don't? What's the plan then next?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's expectation management. And I always say, yeah, we're not cheap, but here's the thing. I've got case studies to prove it. I've got proof.
Yeah.
Like, here's my team. Meet my team. There's a reason why you have come to me, whether it's through a word of mouth or you've seen or read something on Instagram, our website, whatever. Like, I always try and validate what we do with the proof based off other clients that may be quite not the same but similar to them, and kind of make them feel better that the path that and the journey we're going on together is something that we're going to be doing equally. Yeah. And things are going to work. Some things are not going to work, but we pivot, and that's okay. And I set the expectation quite real from the get-go on how many, you know, media we may secure. What are the targets? You know, if somebody says, I want to be in good food, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not easy to get into good food because everyone wants to be featured in good food. So we really need to give them something really strong. Yeah. Like really strong. Like I can call up my journo friend and be like, hey, got this story. But there's still also, if there could still be a chance that it could also be, sorry, can't at full capacity.
Yeah. Or it's like, oh, that's a shit article, or like, you know, that's a shit product. We can't feature that, or...
Yeah. So, you know, or it may not be relevant at the time, or they've wrote up a piece last week about a similar story, so they can't rerun it. So sometimes it just is what it is. Like it's also not a tool that can be done in the short term, I believe. PR is a long journey.
Yeah.
It's that relationship building. It's that once you start, you kind of need to maintain it kind of element. And it can take 6 months for an opportunity to come through that you really want. It can take 12 months, but you need to commit and you need to stick to it and ride through the highs and the lows of it.
Yeah, I think it's very, very challenging because I've had a lot of friends reach out. They're like, yeah, we want to start PR now. We want to start PR now. And it's like, okay, you want to start PR, but like, is it, the right time, or is like, does your product even justify PR? Like if you're selling a cup, it's going to probably be very hard to pitch this cup to.
Yeah. What's your USP?
Yeah. Like what's so special about your cup?
Yeah.
And that's going to be very, very difficult. So yeah, PR is something like I hear all the time from business owners. Yeah, I want to do PR because it's so cool. I can put on my website featured in XYZ, yada, 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 yada. I mean, the shortcut is go pay for the article, 10, 15 grand or whatever it is that they charge for an article, go pay for it. That's the easiest way.
Yeah.
But I mean, people now know.
What's the difference between earned and paid, right?
Yeah,
There's very
correct.
different elements because these days media have to disclose when an article has been paid for, or sponsored, and consumers can see through that too.
Yep.
So when you're paying an agency to get you that earned spot, you're not just paying for that spot or to earn that. Like you're not just paying us to get you that spot, you're earning it. We're finding the relevant angles. We're connecting with that journalist. We're hustling within that relationship to try and figure out how we're going to land you
Is
that.
there an angle? Is there a direction?
100%.
Yeah.
Like it's not just an email. Half of the time there are months of or years of relationship buildings or even begging a journalist to have coffee with you. Literally, like, it's years of skill, relationship building, consuming media, keeping up with the media cycle, keeping up with the trends. You're investing in people who just know and can do it. Obviously, be very selective in terms of like who you do work with, but as long as they've got the credibility and you can see that they've done it like before, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned the word media cycle a lot, right? I think I know what a media cycle is, but for a lot of people at home who don't know what a media cycle is, what is the media cycle that is so... and I think the media cycle is very, very important when determining, how you launch these PR campaigns. But what is the media cycle? How would you define it?
How would I define the media cycle? So there are so many different elements of like what is a media cycle. So you've got like evergreen content, which is like roll kind of content that you would see on a daily basis.
What example would that be? It would be like, 10 weight loss secrets or like, the 10 gifts, Christmas would be like not evergreen because...
Well, even like, for example, like this viral... what's one that I can think of off the top of my head? Like I was literally speaking to a news.com.au journalist about this the other day and somehow it's off the top of my head. It can be, like sometimes you go on a media platform and you can see that there's consistently a theme running across their daily news cycle. So
this is like the up-to-date news stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a drive-by shooting or like, this guy arrested for whatever. Like
Macca's releases its 10 next viral thing, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Economical kind of cost of living is evergreen topic at the moment.
Okay.
There's
like housing and Airbnb
anything that's
and
very
rental
relevant
crisis.
to what's going on in people's day-to-day lives.
Yeah, rental crisis, cost of living.
Yeah,
that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Top 10 beauty products, right? Then you've kind of got, I want to just also say this is how I define it. Like it could be very different to PR, publicist to publicist or media to media. Then there's your occasional kind of media, which is very much highlighting your special events. So like Valentine's Day, Easter, Christmas, Boxing Day sales, Black Friday, all of that kind of stuff are very much more like... I call them special occasion media cycles because they're highlighting a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And then you've got breaking news, which we see a lot of these days in our media cycle, and they can take up hours, days, weeks, months, depending on what is going on.
Would a brand be able to qualify for something like breaking news? Not really, hey. Does it? because I can't think of a way for how you can be like breaking news unless you are like some clinical trial that's, you know, cured cancer or something. That'd be probably breaking news.
Well,
But
yeah, like half of the time when I think of breaking news, I think of typically negative things that have happened.
yeah, it's usually
right?
like, oh my God, this happened. There's a shooting, or there's like there's a high speed chase, or like this warehouse has burnt down, or like, you know, stuff like that's always negative.
Yeah,
It's not like breaking news. Everyone's happy today.
yeah. How nice would that be?
Yeah, that'd be
Oh,
nice.
Be nice, but it's. Yeah. Look, maybe there could be a way. It's a good question to ask that I probably would need to think about it. But it's kind of like how I define the media cycle is based off themes and different kind of things that we've seen over, you know, that have been very consistent over the last year, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes when we're looking at like the media cycle or when we're dictating if a campaign's going to work, sometimes we look at what was done this time last year, what were media kind of talking about, what were the themes, and kind of guess in a way what's going to work, what's not going to work.
Yeah.
But once again, though, the way that you break through all of that is by having something unique, something different, something that's going to make a journalist going to go, I'm going to stop writing about that and I'm going to focus on this instead.
Okay.
So, you know, and viral moments these days do that. So that's how I kind of define it.
Okay, that's so interesting. Yeah, I was having a conversation with some of the team over in the US, and we're talking about how, you know, they're a little bit more old school, a little bit more traditional, and, you know, I'm helping my cousin's business over there, and he's in his 40s now. And so for them, it's like understanding social media and the impact that social media might have is they're a little bit slow on the uptake on that side of things. So I was explaining to him how, like, you know, if you go viral on social media, it actually amplifies your PR reach, or it also, you know, accounts for allowing you to get better and stronger PR reach as well. And they were just trying to grasp that, you know, they're trying to grasp that concept, because traditionally getting PR is literally you have a PR manager whose job is literally to build relationships and, you know, try to get these new product launches or ideas or whatever in front of journos. And that was the traditional PR manager in-house, right? But nowadays I'm like, all you need to do, if you go viral on socials, copy that link, send it to your now relationship that you have. Maybe they'll enjoy that much better. Like, you know, they're already seeing that a lot of people are reading it, or seeing it.
Look, that's where DIY PR has become really
It's powerful.
big. Like you see it on socials quite a lot, where people have gone like, I went viral and now I'm featured in Daily Mail or
It's
7 News.
It's happened to me so many times.
But journalists these days also are not afraid to just like go to journalists aren't afraid to go direct to the business owner. Like they love sharing stories of people who are also unrepresented. So like they'll tell your story, they'll reach out if they believe that there's something there. Like they'll contact you. Like I'll never forget, like before I even got into PR, like my agency, like when I was getting featured when I was in my blogging days, I had some journalists reaching out to me because they saw a before and after photo.
Yeah, how cool
right?
is that?
So like when they see a story, they'll chase the story.
Yeah.
Like, and
they want to bounce off the back of your virality too.
And sometimes not having, oh my God, I'm going so against like self right now. But like sometimes not having that middleman makes the job easier.
You reckon?
For the journal.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true.
Because like a publicist's job is to also ensure that your reputation stays positive, right?
Yes.
So we look at everything. You know, we want to read Q&As before we send it.
Here's a good one, I think, to speak on your behalf here, Cass. This is a good one. So I went viral maybe about 2 years ago I did a bit of a rant in Macca's about how, you know, Aussies are lazy and all that. That went viral.
That, yes.
And then that ended up on Daily Mail. That ended up on Chinese news platforms. It ended up all over the place. And then they wrote some stuff in there which was not necessarily... They definitely called me to comment about it, but... Even after I commented about it, there was still stuff that they quoted wrong or they misrepresented what I said. And I was like, you know, if you have a PR manager, well, a lot of what they do is also helping you craft what to respond or their comments, or they help you craft like, you know, how that story might be represented. And then they also have a closer relationship to the actual journal publishing to be like, hey, you said this about my client. It's kind of not just a little bit wrong, but very wrong. You know, make some switches. Whereas if you're not whereas if you're independent, it's like, well, once it's gone out, how are you going to contact that journal again, or how are you going to get adjustments or amendments? So that's a big part of the value proposition, I think, for having a strong PR agency on your side. But yeah, it does happen. Like, you know, there's been many times, and just off the back of what you're saying there, is like I can have a viral video and it just gets picked up by news, you know, and like the most recent one was maybe like 3 months ago when I was in China and I was doing a video about schooling in China, how the kids go to school from 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. at night. And then, yeah, that got picked up in media in Brazil. It got picked up by media in like different countries as well. So it happens all the time.
Well, even like a client of mine that we were working with last year, she made news in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't know
you
where
don't
things
expect
are going to go.
You don't know who is watching your content either to go, oh, that's a cool story.
Literally.
Yeah.
You just never know. And that's where syndication is so beautiful. It's one of my favorite things about the media.
Explain to me, what is syndication?
So, for example, like News Corp. So if you get published, say, news.com.au, they may love your story so much, or it might be relevant to other kind of media outlets that they own, that they'll push it. So you may not just end up in Daily Telegraph. You might end up in the Herald Sun, the Gold Coast Bulletin, because they've got like their own
small
version
little
for each
sub-branches.
state. But then they might, once we had a client end up in the New York Post off the back of a news.com.au article,
that's
because
cool.
it's syndicated. It made sense. Made sense to them. Then that ended up in India Times. So it's how like if it's how the article kind of like, I call it like a spiral. It gets spirals across different media outlets, and then people can pick it up.
Higher and higher.
Yeah, correct. They pick it up off the newswire, and then they just republish it.
Oh, that's
as long as
so
they're
cool.
giving credit back to the news outlet.
Oh, wow. But they're all different independent outlets,
Correct.
right? And
some of them are owned by the same corporation.
Okay.
But then others, they
just pick it up. Okay,
Yeah,
that's so
wild.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's really cool because, you know, for a lot of brands or business owners out there, if they get publicity and they're trying to do a global launch, and I think this is a very big topic as well, is I've had a lot of people ask me, oh, do you know PR in America? Do you know PR in like UK? Do you know PR in Southeast Asia? Do you know PR in Korea? Like, sorry, I don't know shit. The only person I know is Cassandra, and that's it, right? Like, but it's like, how do you kind of validate where you should kind of present that? And if you're an Aussie brand, for example, does it even make sense for you to pitch the US or pitch UK, or how does that even work?
Well, it really depends on the brand. And obviously if you can, like if you're a physical product and you're servicing those countries, then sure, you can do it.
Yeah.
But I always say, like, leverage, don't rely on what is published here to get you articles over there. I always say you need somebody who understands the market, understands the media, because every country, the media is so different. America, for example, there are so many more media outlets than what's here, but it's 10 times more harder to get featured in something. You need people there. It's relationships. You have like deep. It's a whole other ball game there. The influencer and celebrity world is obviously crazy there. Yeah. So and I'm sure it'd be different in China, or it would be different in Europe, which it is. Like, and everyone has different laws and different like marketing or what you can kind of do, rules that you can follow by, right? So I always say you should work with them. You should, especially if you live here and you can't be there to understand it, you want somebody there who can represent your brand, talk to the right people and get you in with the right people to ensure that your brand is being seen by the customers, your potential customers there. Yeah.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. Yeah, because I feel like PR is such a hard thing for some people to wrap their heads around, because they think it's like, oh, it's just about getting news articles, right? And to some extent, yes, it is. But on the other side of it, there's so much more to PR than just, you know, being publicized in the news outlets, for example, or big media outlet. So it's so interesting. There's different components of PR as well, right? Like you were mentioning, influencers, you know, as well as offline, online events, stuff like that. Is that what you guys do nowadays as well? Like, do you also host events for people, or you know, how does that work? You invite guests to events. Is that all a component of PR?
Yeah. Like, I think last year we did the most amount of events that we've done in a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was crazy.
I've seen some of your events. I was that pizza shop that you work with, and they've
Mount Lewis? Yeah. Oh my God, love them. Like we constantly are doing events. Like we even like try and gently push our clients to even incorporate it as part of their marketing strategies as well. So We do the events where it's very primarily media influencer focused, or if there's something that makes sense from the consumer perspective for the brand, we'll try and create the concept and figure out how we're going to push this to make it make sense. We do the media relations. We do the brand strategy. Like, there's so many different elements of what we do to be able to do what we do and get the success that we get. Like, a lot of it's also coffees and dinners and building one-on-one relationships, maintaining the relationships with the journalists on behalf of our clients. There's a lot of moving pieces to what we do. It's pitching, it's research, there's so many moving parts. Like, you know, we're in the process with a client about to go out and conduct a national research campaign.
Oh, okay.
So
what does that look like?
That's different.
Yeah. What does that look like? What is a national research campaign? Is it like a science kind of thing? Or is it?
No, it's a survey, but we're working with a company that literally does this. And we're working with them to develop like the hard-hitting topics to be able to leverage that so that the client has their own owned media.
Oh,
so,
cool.
you know, because you've got earned, paid, owned, right? So it's her own data based on her name. And she can use that not just for creating media moments, but she can use it to write a book.
Wow.
She could use it to present or talk. There's so many different, I can't really go into too many details without disclosing who the client is, but there is so many different ways that we can take that data to create different PR moments to generate more for her, more opportunities, because it's hers. Nobody else has access or created this data before. So like that's strategy.
That's so, like, see, I wouldn't have ever even thought that was a component of PR. Like, it just doesn't register as PR to me.
Yeah, like there's just so many different things of how or what you can do to create or generate like talkability for your brand or credibility for your brand. Like, that data piece specifically is a credibility strategy.
Of course.
Like, that's a personal brand. That's not a lifestyle brand or a venue or anything. Like, this is an actual person in a professional service field. So it makes sense for her.
To have credibility.
And it's also something that will create a unique selling point for her. But there's so many different moving parts. Like these days, like PR is so big and so broad but fun.
Yeah, right. What has been the most interesting PR client story or like that you could share that you've kind of done? What has been like the most interesting, exciting slash like, slash just different? What's been something like you'll blow my mind?
I don't know if there's like, oh God, like I really have to think about it. Like, I'll like one of the ones that I've really loved, like a
the most memorable client.
Yeah, I'd say, and like we brought them up, the Mount Lewis pizzeria
I mean
guys.
they blew up.
Yeah, like that. I blew my own expectations out of the waters. Like, I was like, fuck, like I really exceeded myself here. Wow. That was really fun. And I think why was because of, it wasn't just about the success of the PR campaign. It was also because the people in that business, they're a family. Jason is the second generation owner and his beautiful parents still are there working in the bloody kitchen. His mum, I don't know, she just doesn't age. Stunning woman. His father is this beautiful, like he's like everyone's dad. He's gorgeous, Tony. And the amount of gratitude that they had. And I think this is why it's really stuck with me. Like, they're just a beautiful family who are just so grateful for everything. And when I met Jason for the first time, we met through the Entourage. I was a vision partner. And we were talking talking about PR and what he had done. And he had previously worked with an agency and it just didn't do well at all. And I somehow managed to convince him to just take a bet on me.
To have a shot.
Went to Bankstown, sat down with him, spoke to him. And I was like, I think I can do something great for you. Like, didn't realize how great it was going to be, but I was like, I think we can do something. Your family story is just beautiful, and it's so rare that you hear I think he was like 27 or 26 at the time, like a 26-year-old, give up a career that could have done exceptionally well. When I think he was doing very, very well at that point, to work for the family corner shop pizzeria in Bankstown. Like, that's so rare, man. I was like, and there's something special that I think people can connect with. And he was like, all right, let's just give it a go. Signed a retainer.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it blew up. Like,
I drove past it the other day. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah, like.
'Cause I was like, isn't that Cass's client?
Yeah, like I said, it exceeded my expectations of myself. Like, it was crazy.
You got them on like national TV.
Yeah,
You got them on
there
all
was the
sorts of
standard
things.
ones. Like, we created like campaigns for them that were very unique. For example, like we did $1 Manouche Mondays, which was really great from like a promotional strategy perspective.
Is that still live? Because I should go and get some $1 Manouche.
I'll ask Jason. I think it is, but I'll ask. So like we came up with a consumer focused campaign, which did really well, which, you know, landed your standard hospo media outlets that love consumer first. And it did really well because it was like the real start of like the conversations around the economic, like cost of living time at that time. So Cheap Eats was perfect.
Yeah.
But then we took the story of the family, and that's where it changed everything for them. We created human connection, and we convicted that into the media by trying to showcase generational storytelling, like the importance of why this is an important story to tell, leveraging it back to a cultural link, which was his Lebanese element, and then the education part of how he is using social media to make the business grow and educate young people on the culture, the Lebanese culture. And it got picked up by Daily Telegraph. It was on Sunrise, which man, that freaking catapulted everything. Like, you know the power of Sunrise.
For
you
sure.
guys have been on it, but this was like a full weather segment. I was expecting
it was
like
a full segment.
this thing, like maybe like a 20-second,
Like us.
yeah,
we had like a 40-second segment or something.
Yeah, they offered a full like weather segment. We were there from like 3:30 in the morning until 9 a.m. It was a full thing, like freaking sand. There was fire. There was belly dancing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sam Max dancing on a chair with the belly dancer with fire being blown everywhere. And it got picked. And this is where the role of social media then played. It's that once it went on TV, it went and then went online. The footage, it went viral, and somehow they made Arab news. Like they were on like in Lebanon, like his uncle or someone was watching it and was like, "You're on the news."
Yeah.
They went that viral. Like Sam Mack was like loving it.
Yeah.
It just created this whole thing that when we did their second campaign last year for their second store opening, that Sunrise Weather wanted to do it all over again. Then they went viral again.
Oh my God.
So it just was one of those moments in my career where it wasn't just the media success that made it. Like, I remember just sitting there going there one day, like, how the fuck did this happen? like, don't get me wrong. Like, I know I'm good at what I do. Like,
Sometimes you surprise yourself.
But I sit there and I go, huh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
cool.
pretty good.
That's fucking good. Like, I'm proud of myself. That was really good. But it was the other element of, like, the gratitude and the love. Like, his mum, like after that first time we did the Sunrise, like came up to me and was like, hugged me, was like crying because she was just so grateful. It's then Jason, you know, always messaging me like with kind words. And it was one of those campaigns where I saw the real impact that I don't just make on what we do for businesses. It's also their lives.
Yeah.
Like, this was a small family, like a family, like in Bankstown, who had this shop, and it created meaningful impact in their lives as well. And I think that's what really stuck with me, and it changed everything about how I viewed what I did and how I do what we do and why I do what I do. And it was one of the best moments of my life.
Yeah, I can see that because I saw all of the media that came out with it, and I was like, that's so cool. You know, like I remember the fire, the dancing, Sam Mack is going off his head. Like,
it was wild.
Crazy.
And that was just at 8:30 in the morning.
I know.
7:30.
Hey, he's got good energy. Sam's got good energy for
he's the
sure.
best. Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
great.
No, that was awesome. It's really powerful. I don't think people understand that if you get the right PR campaigns behind you, it really does move the needle for your business.
Yeah.
Adds a lot of credibility. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think, you know, as like I said, like, look, with Jason specifically, the PR agency he worked with beforehand, they had the opportunity there to make it work for them at the time, but they just didn't do it. They kept it very what's the word, surface level.
Yeah,
but for me, like I said when I first described myself, I'm a storyteller at heart, right? I knew that when I heard that story, if I felt that depth of careness, like that deep level of emotion as I did when I heard it, other people are going to want to know it. And it was a case of just being, Jason, especially in his family, being open enough to exploring it, to see how it was going to work for them, to see what difference it was going to make in their campaign. And it paid off.
Yeah, I think it's a two-way street as well, right? As a publicist or, someone in PR, you can craft a story, but the client has to also be willing to participate in that story. Because sometimes it's uncomfortable. Like you don't want to play in that angle because you're stuck in your own mentality, whether it's arrogance or
100%.
whatever it is, or ego even. It stops you from playing into the story that the publicist thinks will do well.
100%.
Happens all the time, I'm sure.
Like I said, like,
fuck, just listen to me.
Yeah. But it's more of a case of like, I think that's where like the coaching element has been really important, where it's reminding them, like, there are so many clients of mine that don't want to, or not so many. There have been clients that have felt like it's too scary to tell those stories because it's not just about them. It's also about the people in their lives that it might impact. But it's also a case of also sometimes they need to hear the permission of it's going to be okay because we're controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
And the moment that you say, I'm not comfortable anymore with it, we'll stop. But you have to be comfortable, or at least to try.
Yes.
Because it's not like we're going to be telling them your deep, dark secrets. Like, that's not what we do as publicists.
Yeah,
we're not
for sure.
doing that. We're here to tell a story or a journey of where you are now. And that's where people connect.
Yeah, no, I agree. I want to wrap up this whole entire PR segment and then start to wrap up the show as well today. But I want to ask one more question from a PR perspective. What do you think makes a bad PR sort of, not an agency, but like just in terms of what do you think makes bad PR advice, or what do you think is a bad PR service? Because like I said, I think a lot of people go into the PR space. Same thing, we've had the bad experience as well ourselves with one of the businesses. What do you think makes that experience bad? Like when dealing with a PR agency or PR consultant?
I've heard of so many scary stories, and I think the whole theme of them have been the feeling of being like a dollar sign. Like once they've signed a contract, they feel like a dollar sign. Like that's it. Like they rarely hear from them. They don't care, or they've got bigger clients, so they spend more time on them because they've got bigger budgets and this and that. And that is why when I said that I was going to create an agency, I was going to do things differently, because my values, like one of the strongest ones are communication. And I tell my staff, I tell everybody that whoever we're working with, it's better to over communicate and be really fucking annoying with our clients than what it is to be mute and make them feel like they have no idea what's going on. So I think if communication is there not just from the agency, but the client perspective as well, where it's a agreed or a mutual value, things can't go wrong in the trust sense, in the relationship building sense, because you get the opportunity to talk, you get the opportunity to get feedback, you get the opportunity to brainstorm. There is so many opportunities within that to kind of know, well, what's the next step, right? And I think if you can find a partner that it's like through actions, right? People can say, I'm a great communicator and we're going to have 3 meetings a month, blah, 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 blah. But if you're on a call with them and they're like, great, you're like, yep, let's sign. Great, let's lock in our first meeting whilst you're sitting here on the phone. You know that they value that. Like they live in alignment they speak in alignment to their actions. Well, their actions speak in alignment to their words. So I think if you can listen carefully, listen but see, listen to your gut. You know what's right for your business. You know what's right for you. Ask other people, for reputation as well.
Yeah. On that note, I've actually had a lot of people reach out to me asking about you.
Oh, really?
All the time. Yeah, probably in the last maybe 2 years, probably had about 6 or 7.
Oh, wow. There you go.
They're just like, house Cass, house Cass, house Cass. So don't worry. I'm always giving you
That's
stellar
that
reviews.
perception, guys,
I hope
don't
they
worry.
signed on as clients. But yeah.
But, you know, it's just a case of like, and also not everybody is everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. Like
I agree.
sometimes, and I sit there sometimes and I'm listening to somebody speak. Like I had a lead call yesterday and I was just like, this sounds really great. Like his business sounds really, really cool. But then I'm listening to how he speaks and I hear things like, you know, asking questions like, what have you worked with other agencies before and what was that like? And the moment that he badmouthed like 3 or 4 agencies he worked with in a matter of a couple of years, I was like, I wonder if the agencies are the problem or if you are.
Yes, correct. It happens all the time.
So it's like a dance, right? You got to kind of figure out, and not everything's always going to be perfect. So you have to be okay with that. But as long as there is a commitment on both levels and they understand your brand, they can see the potential in your brand and they're willing to do what needs to be done to make your brand successful, they'll do it.
Yeah.
Like we all saw it in COVID. Like didn't stop the PR game and everyone just got really creative to make sure that their clients' brands survived during that period.
Yeah, that was a very hard period.
Yeah.
Very, very hard.
Yeah, so it's the dedication
Very
element.
hard. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our show today then. And like with every other guest, I ask this one question. You know, I kind of see life like a game and, you know, we're just playing the game and we're just trying to go through the motions and figure out what exactly works. We used to love playing with our PS2s, so it's no different. Life is just a different console.
Yes.
So, you know, with life and with everything you've learnt now, you know, we're entering into our 30s, which is fantastic.
I'm there.
I'm there too. We're the same age.
Yeah,
so
it's true. We are.
we're on the way.
Oh, so
now in our
shit.
30s, right? If you were to go back to, you know, young Cass before she went into high school or before she went into uni and, you know, decided to drop out of uni and pursue her life, based on what you've learned in the last 15, 16 years, you know, we figure out a lot of things that we would look back at ourselves when we were younger and think, oh, that's a cool cheat code. If I did that 10 years earlier or 15 years earlier, I'd be where I would be today, but so much faster. What do you think that cheat code is for yourself? You know, if you were to go back to whether it's young Cass or whether it's to, you know, some young girl that messaged you, the 15-year-old that messaged you and, you know, it absolutely helped her. What do you think that one cheat code would be for them to get to potentially where you are today, but in half the time?
Oh, that's a real big, deep question. Oh my God. I would say one thing with me was like I always felt this weird fire in my belly that kind of would remind me like there is something greater than this waiting for me. So like when I was being bullied or different moments of my life, right, that were really hard, I was like, fucking, I know that there's something bigger and better than this. Like that's what I just need to get through this to get there. So when I have people who come up to me and kind of say, what advice do you have for me? I typically always say is to remember that everything is temporary, but lean into the fire.
Ooh.
Because that fire is going to be your guiding light to all the right big moments in your life. And I don't know if it's whether it's about, I don't know if it's going to speed it up. But for me, it was a matter of that every time I felt that fire and I trusted it and I leaned into it, big things happened. Whether it was when I made the decision to lose the weight, whether it was a time that I was being bullied by like 5 girls in school, like just standing there and like just going, the fire, the fire, the fire. When it was when I took the opportunity to start my business sooner than I expected, when I met my partner, like so many different things, right? They have been the best parts for me, but then the times when I haven't listened to that fire, it has meant that opportunities have been lost, or I could have been more successful during COVID, whatever the case might have been. So lean into the fire. Don't be afraid of it. Listen to it. And remember that at the end of the day, your success is determined by your actions. So move with it.
Powerful.
That's my
Powerful.
That's my thought.
That's your little cheat code. I love it. That's powerful. Well, where do people find you if they want to get in touch with you and, you know, if they want to reach out about PR and stuff like that? Where do people find you on socials?
You can reach out to me on Instagram, which is Cassandra.Hili or Curated Agency, or just go into Alan's DMs like the rest of everybody else.
Yeah, correct. Ask me for the referral.
Yeah, cheat code.
Exactly. Very smart. Very smart. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the
Thank you
show,
for
and thank
having
you for
me.
sharing all the PR tips and tricks. And yeah, thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Let's have a great year.
I hope you have enjoyed that episode of Point 01. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along on all our socials at Point 01 Podcast to watch all of the shorts again. We release an episode every single week, and we hope you will join us as we continue to explore the minds of those who make up the 0.01%. Until next time, keep hustling. I'm your host, Alan Fu. I'll see you on the next episode.